All right, so we're going to talk about material instances and dynamic material instances, and then how you can and cannot record things uh, to the sequencer. So I'm going to go into my assets and let's do let's do my assets. So I'm going to go to my map and look for Todd somewhere. All right, so I'm in Todd. You guys are more welcome. Come find me if you want to. It doesn't really matter. So I have this cone, and it's not in a. It doesn't have really a material. It has a material instance, but it's not in a blueprint. I can add it to a blueprint by saying convert to a blueprint class, and I like to say harvest components. It'll put everything underneath a root of its own. It's almost like I made it from scratch, and it's going to be just a plain actor blueprint. I could also make it from scratch if I wanted to. This is going to be underneath assets, blueprints, and then I'm going to call it BP cone. Cool. So I have the static mesh component right there, and I have everything for my settings from before. I could have just made a blueprint actor and then added the static mesh if I wanted to. That's just a way of converting something really quickly. We're like, oh, this should be interactive after all. Right? So I already have material instance in here. We remember I've allocated resources towards changing this color in real time, right? So I no longer have to wait to compile. Game engines are by default lazy and they don't want to have to allocate resources to it. Like, nobody, we're doing it. It's going to be live. Allocate resources for it. I'm ready for it. Sure, that goes great. And then to be able to move this at runtime, you need to actually make sure that it knows that it's a dynamic material instance, right? Material instance dynamic. You'll hear them back and forth. So on event begin play, I can grab a reference to the static mesh component and say set um, or say create dynamic material instance. Right? What is the material? It is mi Todd. Oops, misspelled that really bad. Cool. Element. There's only one element on here, right? But if you have multiple materials, you need to choose which material you're addressing. And then on event begin play, it's going to create this Todd, and again, it's whatever you want to call it, dynamic material instance, DMI. Cool. Then whenever I want to do my OSC, I can uh, attack this variable, right? I've stored this. Now you're like, well, what if you want to use OSC and you didn't make this a child of your parent class? You can actually change that here in your settings. VP OSC parent. Now when I compile, should work. Let's see. Let's save. And now you can see the parent class is BP OSC parent class. Let's close it. Open it back up to make sure. We'll see what happens. Um, So I want it to do two things on one frame sequence. First, I want you to create this dynamic material instance. And the second thing is I want to get all actors of class, which is uh, BP OSC parent. And then I want to assign OSC dispatch. All right, so this is stuff we did in the last couple of weeks a few times. And now we're able to do whatever we need. I don't need. I don't have to do OC. I'm just showing you again how to do multiple things on one frame. But when you want to actually drive the action, for right now I'm just going to do a key press. So I'm going to say input. Oh, how about I do key? Let's see. How do I usually do this? Keyboard. Keyboard. We'll do on one. We now have to look at this material. We have a color. So this is a scalar, this is a vector parameter, right? So we want to grab a reference to this, and you want to say set vector parameter. Ooh, there's a double vector parameter value. I don't even know what that is. Double your fun. And then unfortunately you have to manually make sure that it matches. There's no drop down. So it is case sensitive. So when I press I want to change this material. And then this is what's called a linear color structure. It is a RGBA. I haven't actually shown you a timeline before, but uh, this is one the very last thing in your list of objects. You have a timeline on a key press. I want to do what's called a flip flop. When I first hit it, it's going to play, and then when I hit it again, it's going to reverse. If you double click this object, it's a timeline, and I want to add in a color track, right? And then what color? We'll start here. Oh, is that supposed to be? There we go. That's opacity, so you're supposed to stay at 1. Let's add another keyframe. Oh, it's because I'm not doing that. All right, so you can add these like gradients or whatever you want, and then over the course of 5 seconds, it'll play this gradient, right? So the track can fit into there and update. Actor blueprints by default don't do they don't do key presses, so you need to enable key presses. Key presses are by default only for level blueprints, so you don't have key presses all throughout your project, and you can't find them. So you can say allow input to be received by player 0, and then when I hit 1, it should go back and forth with this. There's a cone over here. In my viewport, I might want to take my static mesh and zero it out. Cool. And then when I hit play, P, let's watch it. Oh, no, it was a P, it was 1. 1, right? And then I'll go backwards because I'm doing the flip flop. The problem is that color by default isn't really isn't a parameter. If I put this blueprint cone in my tape recorder, and this is kind of like the whole point of this is showing you how to do this, is that you'll see the different tracks that are by default recorded, but none of them is this color. There's shadows, there's visibility, with lights, there's intensity. Oh, you can actually record a timeline. I hadn't seen that before. I'll check that off and see what happens. Nope, it says no. So what you need to do for these items then would be, first of all, you need to remove it and go to your blueprint again. And I did this last time. I just want to show it to you again and show you how to fix it. So I'm going to promote this to a variable, and now I can store it. This stored variable is, we'll call this color. We need to make sure that it's exposed to cinematics. There we go. And so now I can add it back in. Again, if I had left it in, it wouldn't have worked. Select it, and then color is now a track that I can record. I can turn them all off. All I care about is color for right now. Cool. And then let's go ahead and record and take recorder. So I'm gonna hit play, record, one. Why is it not playing? B cone. Let's see. Let's not make it spawn. Oops. Let's try that more organized. Okay. So new track, play, record. Or I haven't done this with actually key presses. When I was showing it to other people, I was doing it um, with OSC. Take 7. All right. Stop. There we go. I don't know why I wasn't doing it right. So now I'm recording, and it has to be in play. If you're doing a simulate, it won't accept key presses, only OSC. Hit stop, stop, and then if I preview the last recording, doodly doo, today's fire, you'll see that it's saved here in color, but this isn't actually this doesn't actually do anything with it though. So when you're going back and recording these keyframes, you need to actually paste them onto the asset itself. So go to the first frame, select them all, copy, and then on this thing, you can unlock it, add a track for the. I have to check the timeline thing. I haven't done that before. Template, attach audio event back transform. Da, 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 da. That'd be interesting. Timeline. Can I paste it here? Right, that's just triggering on and off. I need to get a reference to the static mesh. Audio event. Spawn track. I don't see the static mesh. BP con. I might have been trying to do too many things at once. Anyway, the data is recorded. Sometimes you have to copy and paste it to the thing. Let's add in another BP cone here and see if we can get a reference to static mesh component and then element 0 and then the parameter color. So I come back here, go to the first track, copy paste. Right. Copy. Right. So it's not perfect, but you can recover from a live show control. Again, we're making this up as we go along. Cool. So I think I mixed up the tracks. But you can see you can get it back on there. You have to recover it. So sometimes you just restore it as a variable and then come back and fix it. Cool. So that's a dynamic material. Um, if you find that you're doing something to all your materials, that's called a parameter collection. I'm gonna go to materials and I'll make a parameter collection for all of us. Or I can actually reference somebody else's. Let's see. Now, so we're gonna say underneath material, uh, parameter collection, MPC uh, Xmas, and you tell it what tracks you want to add in. So if I want to add in a color track, I can insert um, one called color here, and by default I can make it white. And if I want to have one for like brightness here, and I make it one by default. So what's cool about this is that in my materials, if I go to base color, I can add in a collection parameter, choose the collection that I just made, Xmas, and then I have a reference to brightness or color or whatever. And this is now in every single blueprint. So if I want to change the color of one object, it's a dynamic material instance. If I want to change the color of everything all at once, and this is how you do big dissolves that take over every single object, it's because they're all, again, coming from one uh, root collection parameter, and then this can change uh, your settings. So if we need to get into it more, we get to more. But uh, if you needed to do a universal effect, take a look at parameter collections, take a look at this one. And then what's also cool about sequencer is that that is a track in here. It's called parameter collection track, and you can manually uh, keyframe color here. It used to let me do all three tracks at one time. That's a little frustrating. Paste. Oh, well. Cool. Just to let you know that there's just some more options for cleaning up some of this stuff. Yeah, it only does it one at a time. Frustrating. Cool. Um, that was pretty much it. Just basically saving a variable for cinematic. Cool. So I'm going to stop this recording. Let's take a break.